Hey guys, today we're diving into another truly horrifying case. Hey, welcome, and my name is Erin.
And I am Ashley.
Today on the deep dive, we're taking a closer look at a truly shocking and really tragic sequence of events.
Yeah, the story of Meredith Sullivan, Mark Giretto, and Jenna Gerardo, it's a lot to unpack.
It really is. We're diving deep into the details, drawing from the information presented in that YouTube documentary, the one about the love triangle turning into a bloodbath.
Right. The goal here is really to understand the dynamics, the layers of this whole tragedy.
Exactly. What led to such a devastating outcome?
It's striking how often these things seem to start not with a huge fight, but more like a slow drift apart.
Mm-hmm.
The documentary touches on that, how couples can just lose that connection, sometimes without even realizing how bad it's gotten.
Until it's way too late. In this
Yeah.
case, it just seems like a really stark example of that, doesn't it? How that emotional distance can just open the door for something terrible.
Absolutely. And at the heart of it all, you have Meredith Sullivan.
Yeah, born in Newark, Delaware, January 17th, 1985. Youngest of three, seemed like a really supportive family, financially comfortable.
Andrew and Faye Sullivan, her parents and siblings, Thomas and Jessica. It sounds like she had a pretty positive early life. Lots of love and support, good education, encouraged in her talents like art.
Right. And even when her parents divorced when she was in middle school, the documentary said it was amicable.
Yeah, apparently quite amicable. Both parents stayed involved, and it seems she didn't feel neglected, though obviously any divorce impacts a kid.
Sure, sure. But it sounds like she was quite resilient. It paints a picture of, well, a stable background, which makes the later events even more jarring,
It does. It suggests that external stability doesn't always protect you from internal struggles, especially in relationships.
And by all accounts, Meredith was just, well, she seemed lovely, kind-hearted, outgoing, made friends easily.
Cheerful, engaging, popular, the documentary really paints her as someone people were drawn to.
Academically, too, she just seemed to excel. Curious, a quick learner, took initiative.
And talented, painting, but also really active in sports, rhythmic gymnastics, ballroom dancing, and cheerleading. Became captain even.
Wow. So, driven, focused, confident, but also fair. Earned a lot of admiration, it sounds like.
That kind of drive, that combination of talent and determination from a young age, it's impressive. But it probably came with its own pressures too, right?
Oh, definitely. You have to imagine. That drive took her to the University of Delaware Corporate Communications and Social Sciences.
Adapted quickly, kept up the academic success, got a merit scholarship, and stayed active cheerleading, tennis, dance, theater. She didn't slow down.
No kidding. And that junior year internship, Philadelphia radio station.
Yeah, managing social media, which was like a pretty new field back then.
Right. Perfect match for her studies. Really cemented her interest in communications.
Plus being in that elite student organization, building connections.
Yeah.
She was definitely thinking ahead.
Always strategic, it seems. Even her senior project, that documentary on Joe Biden.
Getting a regional Emmy nomination for that.
Yeah.
It's huge for a student project. Open doors in media, for sure.
So she graduates in 2007, lands her first job as a PR assistant for Congressman Michael Castle.
Had political ambitions, clearly. Worked on Chip Flower's campaign, too.
Yeah.
She really seemed to thrive in those fast-paced environments.
Always pushing herself, seeking that intellectual growth. And then she meets Luke Chapman.
Right, in college.
Mm-hmm.
University of Delaware. Slightly older, but they shared that intelligence, that ambition.
Mm-hmm. Both driven, motivated. He was heading into public service, too, NYC Council.
So their careers were kind of aligned initially, both moving up.
Exactly. They seemed like a power couple, really. They got married, bought a nice house in Fairfield Crest.
And decided to put off having kids for a bit, focus on the careers. Got a dog, Indy.
Yeah, the golden retriever. Sounds like a happy setup on the surface.
But then Meredith made a shift, right? Back to academia.
Yeah. Got her master's in education, started teaching at the University of Delaware PR, digital marketing, social media stuff.
Researching communication, serving on committees.
Mm-hmm.
Still very engaged, just in a different arena.
And she did well there, too. By 2013, she's director of marketing. Still lecturing, publishing. Colleagues and students apparently loved her.
Meanwhile, Luke's career is also demanding. Long hours mentioned in the documentary.
And this is where you start to see that distance creeping in, right? Yeah. Despite looking successful on the outside.
It's that classic story, isn't it? Less time together, the spark fades, no talk of family anymore.
The marriage becomes more like a formality, like housemates almost. Separate finances, routines.
But no big fights in public, apparently. They kept up appearances, seemed content.
It's a really crucial point. The very thing that maybe brought them together, that ambition might have pushed them apart.
If you don't actively nurture the relationship, yeah. Shared goals aren't enough sometimes.
Then, 2016, Meredith jumps back into politics, runs for the Delaware Senate seat.
To challenge Dave Sokola. It was a close race. Apparently, she lost by less than 5%.
Wow, close. After that, she went back to education, continued her academic career.
And then, in 2017, the university department needed an assistant, a creative director, and they hired Mark Gereda.
Right. Mark, 49 years old, met all the requirements, interviewed well, ready to start right away.
He was living in North Carolina at the time, married to Jenna Gerardo. She stayed behind initially to sell their house.
Mark made a good impression at first, didn't he? Thoughtful, smart, strong marketing background.
Exceeded expectations, apparently. He and Meredith developed a really good working relationship, found common ground.
Important to note the age gap, 16 years, and that they were both married.
Yeah, but Meredith was already feeling distant from Luke, and Mark had this long 25-year marriage to Jenna. No known infidelity before this.
As co-workers, though, they got close. That unspoken understanding you can get sometimes. Mark was reliable, skilled.
And that professional closeness started turning into something more personal. Meredith started confiding in him.
About work, but also personal stuff, which is significant given how busy her life was and how distant her marriage had become.
It suggests she found something with Mark, an emotional connection maybe that was missing elsewhere.
And it didn't take long. Just 2 weeks after he moved, she invited him out after work.
To a local bar, yeah. Casual setting, wanted to talk. And that's when Mark started opening up about his own past.
Born in 1968, strict religious parents, learned hard work, did well in school.
And then the story of meeting Jenna Cox. He was 18, she was 16, waitress at a fast food place he went to.
He was shy, though, right? Lost touch when her family moved.
Yeah. But then they met again, like by chance in 1990. Shopping center.
Jenna was working there, and she asked him out this time.
Took the lead, and things moved fast after that. Dating seriously, engaged in 92, married less than a year later.
Their early married life sounds pretty good. Settled in Indianapolis, bought a house. Mark had a graphic design degree, good job. Jenna was in real estate.
Comfortable life, adopted 3 dogs they treated like family, seemed really perfect, deeply in love, happy home.
But they hit a rough patch. Mid-2000s.
Yeah. Mark lost both his parents, and Jenna's business had some financial trouble. Big stressors.
Led to a major change, sold the house, moved to Greenville, South Carolina.
Mark found a marketing job quickly. Jenna focused on the home at first, and that move, weirdly, seemed to help their relationship.
How so?
They traveled a lot, rediscovered that spark. The documentary called it a second honeymoon.
Wow. So they navigated that tough time and came out stronger, it seems.
Yeah. Until 2017, when Mark started looking for something more fulfilling, better pay.
Which led him to Meredith's job posting and the move to Newark, while Jenna planned to follow in about a month.
Right. So back to that night at the bar. Mark shares all this history.
And Meredith listens, really listens. And then she starts opening up, too, about her career, her failing marriage.
And vulnerability, sharing those stories. It just created this deeper connection. They felt familiar, trusted each other, stayed late at the bar.
And ended up spending the night at Mark's apartment.
And that was the start. Their secret relationship began, while Jenna was still hundreds of miles away.
For Meredith, with her marriage already distant, maybe it didn't feel like a huge obstacle.
Perhaps. But for Mark, this was new territory. First affair, falling for a younger woman, both still married. It's complicated.
Super complicated. And the relationship continued even after Jenna moved to Newark.
And Jenna. She apparently suspected something almost right away. Had a feeling someone else had been in their new place.
Instead of confronting him immediately, she started watching, gathering info.
Yeah. Notice Mark working late all the time. Him being distant at home, less intimacy. He blamed exhaustion.
Classic excuses, unfortunately.
Right. When she finally did confront him, he denied everything.
He tried to end the affair briefly.
Yeah, but it didn't stick. The connection with Meredith was just too strong, apparently.
Yeah.
They started seeing each other secretly again.
And while this is happening, Meredith and Luke finalized their divorce, peacefully even, on Valentine's Day, 2018.
The irony. And that same day, Jenna confronts Mark again. But this time...
She had proof. Hired a private investigator. Photos, places they met.
No denying it then. Mark admitted it, promised again he'd end it to save the marriage. But...
It was short-lived.
Very. Jenna didn't trust him. She started cracking him GPS on his car, monitoring software on his phone, his computer.
Wow. That's intense, and tensions must have exploded when Mark found the tracker.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That seems to have been the breaking point for Mark. He told Jenna the truth.
That he loved Meredith, wanted to be with her, planned to divorce Jenna.
Exactly. Imagine Jenna. She's 47. Her husband of 25 years is leaving her for a younger woman, his boss, no less.
In a new city, no job yet, losing her financial stability, her emotional support. Her whole life turned upside down, just devastating.
Absolutely devastating. Meanwhile, Meredith's divorce is final by early March. She's free, probably expecting Mark to file immediately.
But it wasn't that simple for him, legally. Residency requirements in the new state.
Right, it took time. But around then, he moved out of the home he shared with Jenna and into Meredith's apartment.
And Meredith's career was just taking off again. Resigned from U Delaware, got these huge new positions.
VP and Chief Marketing Officer at Villanova University, and a leadership role at Ruffalo Noel Levitz. She was flying high, professionally.
Such a contrast with the personal turmoil.
Isn't it just? On April 5th, Meredith moves into her new place in Radnor Township, Pennsylvania. Mark joins her about a week later.
He left his other job, too, became her personal assistant at Villanova, like a completely fresh start for them.
Seemed like it. But, as the documentary foreshadows, neither of them knew Jenna was plotting revenge.
So April 23rd, 2018, they had plans, right? Dinner out to celebrate.
Yeah, this new beginning. Meredith stopped by her house first, maybe to change or grab something, while Mark went ahead to the restaurant.
But she never showed up, didn't answer her phone. Mark starts getting worried.
And then those messages start coming from Jenna. Angry, bitter, wishing him misery.
Followed by that horrifying photo of Meredith's kitchen.
Unimaginable. Mark races back to Meredith's house, finds her car, sees a black Chevrolet parked nearby, doesn't think much of it at first.
The front door's unlocked.
And he walks into the kitchen. Finds them both, Meredith and Jenna. Lifeless. Pools of blood. Fatal gunshot wounds.
Oh, God. He screamed, ran outside. Neighbors heard, called 911.
The police arrive, and initially, Mark is the focus. It's the obvious place to start given the situation.
But that didn't last long.
No. The weapon was under Jenna's body. Only her fingerprints were on it. The conclusion was pretty clear pretty quickly.
A planned act by Jenna, murder-suicide.
And the evidence supported it. Emails she sent to a friend hinting at extreme plans. Proof she'd been preparing for 2 weeks.
Buying the gun, renting the car, getting disguise items like a wig.
She found Meredith's new address, staked it out for a week. Neighbors saw the woman in the wig, the black Chevy. Mark saw the car too, just figured it belonged to someone local.
She broke in through a backyard window. The police theory is she meant to kill them both, Mark and Meredith, then herself.
But Meredith came home alone first.
Just tragic timing. And then there was that life insurance policy, Meredith's policy.
Yeah, $500,000, taken out about 18 months earlier. Luke, her ex-husband, was still the beneficiary.
She hadn't updated it after the divorce, so naturally police had to look at Luke.
Could he have been involved indirectly? It was a question they had to ask. But ultimately, no evidence pointed that way.
Theory dismissed. No one else to blame, really. Case closed fairly quickly.
Mark was cleared, but the public and media scrutiny must have been intense.
He didn't hide, though. Spoke out, did interviews, talk shows.
And published a memoir a year later, recounting everything, the relationships, the tragedy, his shock at what Jenna did.
It became a bestseller, but got mixed reactions, right? People accusing him of exploiting it.
Yeah, definitely polarizing. Now, if you've found this deep dive into this incredibly complex and heartbreaking case, as gripping as we have, and you want to explore other true crime stories with us, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Dead Quiet Crime Podcast. We really try to delve into cases with this same level of detail, aiming to get closer to understanding these often really disturbing events.
There was also the aftermath with the insurance money. Meredith's family sued Luke.
They did, but the court sided mostly with Luke. He had to return about 10%, I think. The judge felt there was no malice. Meredith just hadn't gotten around to changing the beneficiary. Didn't expect to die, obviously.
Of course not. Meredith was cremated. Ashes went to her parents. Jenna was buried back in Indiana.
And the chilling thought remains for many. Mark was likely meant to be there that night. He narrowly escaped death himself.
It's just such a stark, horrifying reminder of how relationships can just completely unravel the consequences. Unimaginable.
Yeah, the key takeaways.
Yeah.
It's the slow breakdown of two marriages, isn't it? And then the intense connection that forms in that void.
Leading to betrayal, and then this devastating revenge.
It really forces you to think about the complexities, the hidden currents in relationships. What pushes someone to such an extreme?
What are those pressures, those vulnerabilities, societal, individual,
Hmm.
that contribute to tragedies like this? It's something to really ponder. Well, thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. If you found this in-depth exploration compelling and you want more content like this, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Your support genuinely helps us keep bringing you these detailed analyses.